Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Michael Carbone. I'm a business and immigration attorney in Staten Island, New York. Today, I want to talk about the recent changes that have been made to the naturalization process. More specifically, I want to cover the memos that were produced by USCIS back in August that touch on the good moral character component of naturalization applications. Now, before I dive into this topic, if you have any questions or you want to start a conversation, please drop a comment below. Otherwise, if you'd like to set up a formal legal consultation with me, visit us at carboneattorneys.com. We have a button in the top right corner of our website. Click it, fill it out, and we'll get back to you as soon as possible. So back in August, USCIS produced several memos that impact the naturalization process. Now, one of these memos specifically talks about the good moral character component of naturalization applications. Now, traditionally, when we're talking about good moral character, USCIS is really looking for the absence of negative factors. They want to see that you don't have a criminal history, that you don't owe back taxes, that you don't owe back child support, that you are not an alcoholic or drug abuser. There's a list of things that can disqualify you from naturalization and directly impact your ability to show that you have good moral character. Now, with this new memo that came out, USCIS has indicated that they are going to start taking a rigorous and holistic approach to naturalization applications. Specifically, it sounds like they're going to not only be looking for negative factors, but they're going to be looking for positive factors as well. Now, what specifically will they be looking for? It seems like there's a variety of factors that USCIS will consider, and they've included them in this memo, but some of them include family ties, educational attainment, community involvement, length of residence in the United States, proof of stable employment, and compliance with your tax obligations or child support payments. Now, what does it mean for you? So right now, this policy does not amend the immigration law, the regulations, the policy manual. There aren't major changes from this just yet. So it's really unclear how USCIS is implementing this across the country. What you can do is you can start preparing affidavits from friends, family members, community members, coworkers to really back up your positive factors that you have. Now, do you need to submit these with your naturalization application? It's unclear right now. So what we're typically recommending is that you at least gather the paperwork, gather the affidavits and the information that would help prove that you possess these positive factors, but hold off on submitting them unless the USCIS officer asks for them. Now, one thing that this could do is it could delay your case. So it's up to you if you'd like to submit that evidence preemptively, meaning at the time you are filing your application, or in response to a request for evidence by USCIS. They can issue those while your case is pending, or they can even issue them after your naturalization interview. Now, one other component of this memo that came out in August is that they will be placing greater emphasis on negative factors. So if you have a criminal history, if you owe back taxes, if you owe back child support payments, this will work against you. Now, specifically in respect to tax obligations and child support payments, previously, prior to this memo, as long as you were under a payment plan with the IRS or the state, you could still naturalize. This wouldn't be a problem. Now, it seems as though that USCIS is expecting you to pay your back taxes in full prior to filing for naturalization, which might be a huge burden for some people. And I do think this is the point. I think that the administration is looking to deny more applications and prevent more people from being able to apply for naturalization. This also applies to the child support situation. If you are behind on child support payments, it's likely that they're going to want to see that you are up to date with your child support payments. Now, in terms of criminal history, depending on your convictions, your arrests, you may or may not be required to show proof of rehabilitation, proof that you have overcome this situation, you've bettered your life, and maybe you've even impacted the lives of others, okay? So this is something to keep in mind when applying for naturalization under this new policy. Ultimately, as I've stated already, you will likely want to prepare affidavits, statements, get any paperwork that you have that can show that you've been rehabilitated, that you've paid these tax payments or child support, so that in the event that it does come up as an issue at your interview or beforehand, you will be prepared to respond. And lastly, the memo also addresses the concept of neighborhood investigations. Now, this was a program that was instituted back in 1981. It ran for about 10 years and it was shut down in 1991. And essentially, the USCIS officer reviewing your case would go into your neighborhood and interview your neighbors. They would show up at your job and interview your coworkers to verify that you were, eligible for naturalization. Now, it's also unclear when USCIS will be engaging in these neighborhood investigations, but it does seem to be on a case-by-case basis and within the discretion of the USCIS officer whether to investigate your background. So in order to respond to this part of the memo, again, it's likely going to be that you will gather affidavits from friends, family members, neighbors, coworkers to sort of verify that you are a person of good moral character, you're a good member of your community, and that you are eligible for naturalization. Again, it doesn't seem like these need to be submitted with your N-400 because it's still unclear whether they are actually engaging in these investigations, but you should be prepared to produce these documents. So ultimately, these memos do affect and impact the naturalization process, but they do not change the law. What these memos do is they effectively give greater discretion to the USCIS officer. So they can decide whether or not they want to seek these affidavits, seek this evidence showing that you are a person of good moral character, or just continue to process your application as usual. So if you are considering filing for naturalization, you do want to keep these memos in mind and do your best to prepare your application to respond if the officer asks for these evidences. So that's it. That's the video for today. If you like this video and you want to see more, please like, subscribe, and I'll keep making them.